Hi everyone, so Eonon have been nice enough to send me their new P4 portable car stereo. I thought I'd do a quick unboxing to show you what the box looks like. So there's not much on the box, it just gives a few features. So we've got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, it does AirPlay and cast, it's got a rear dash camera and reversing camera. It's got 4K video in the front, and it has auto adjustment brightness. There's not a lot on the side, got a logo on the other side, there's not much anywhere else. It's a very nice box. It's got a magnet in it there. I'll try and show you that. So it's a very, very premium feeling box. So as we open it up, we've got some nice protective foam and the portable head unit itself. See if I can get that out. So I'll put that to the side just for now. We'll see what else is in the box. So we've got an additional mount for attaching the head unit to the windscreen. I believe the one that comes fitted is a sticky pad. We've got our rear camera. We've got an extra sticky pad just in case. It looks like we've got a trim removal tool. We've got an aux cord, which is nice. And we've got what appears to be a cable management clip that's got a sticky pad on it. The power cable, so that goes into the cigarette lighter. I believe this supports anything from 12 to 24 volts, so it works in cars, vans, lorries, anything like that. It's USB-C on the other end. And it's also got a USB pass-through, which is nice. You can still charge other things with this adapter. Got the user manual, and I believe that is everything that's in the box. Okay, so here we have our portable car stereo. If we just take it out of its protective bag, we are immediately greeted with our 9.3-inch display. There is a screen protector fitted from the factory. It's got a matte finish to it. So I believe that is supposed to be removed once you've installed it, so that's a nice touch. If we start at what's on top, we've got a power button, nothing else, just a power button. On the side, we've got our USB-C connection, so that's our power. We've got our backup camera and our rear dash cam connection. We've got our SD card slot, which is pre-fitted with a 64GB SD card, which is a nice touch. And we've also got our aux connection, so that's aux out, which can go to your standard head unit to get better audio. If we go on to the bottom, we've got our sticky pad mount. That seems to be flexible, so I think that will contour to sort of any dashboard. And the other side, we have nothing. On the back, we've got our dash cam, which records in 4K, and our adjustments for the mount. So this is everything that comes in the box all laid out. I'm going to leave the screen protector on. Let's head outside and fit this to the camper. So now we're in the camper. I've taken it all out of the box. This is the power cable that we saw. I've plugged it in the side. I've already mounted the suction cup mount to the windscreen. That's very simple. It's got lots of adjustment and it's pulled about halfway out for me, and that gives me a nice view from there. So if I clip that to the mount now, as you see, that's got a very firm, secure mount on there. That's not going to come off. We plug that in. See, it's got our Eonon boot logo. And we're straight in. So, I'll remove the screen protector. And let's have a look at some features. Okay, so first up, on this left-hand side, we've got our home button, which will take us back to this same screen. We've got the brightness button. Currently it's set to auto, and obviously it's daylight outside, so we're currently at maximum brightness. We've then got our audio output, which I have set to FM here because my old camper doesn't have anything but FM. But it's got an internal speaker, if that's what you need. So the actual head unit itself has got a speaker in it. The quality of that speaker isn't terrific, but it's a speaker, so you could definitely use it. It does Bluetooth output, so you can connect your
this head unit to your car's onboard Bluetooth, so it would pass through any audio through the head unit into your car's speakers via Bluetooth. As I said, in this case we're using FM, so all I have connected at the moment is I'm just outputting on 98.1 FM, and I've got my camper radio set to that same frequency, so we get some audio output there. And again, last thing we've got here is aux, so you can actually plug a physical cable in between this head unit and your car's factory stereo system. Last thing we've got on this side is our dash cameras. So I've currently got the backup camera just in my hand here, so we can get an idea of what it looks like. So there we go, we've got side by side here, we've got our front facing camera, and this is our dash camera. So that's our reversing camera, and that's our normal dash camera. Right, moving on to the options on the screen here. So we've got Apple CarPlay, which all it will ask you to do when you click that is just connect your phone via Bluetooth to the head unit itself. Your iPhone will then pop up and say, do you want to use Apple CarPlay? You just select yes, and here you go. You end up with Apple CarPlay. We then go back home. Moving on from there, we've got Android Auto. So when we click Android Auto, do we want to switch to Android Auto? I press confirm. Here we go. So this is the screen you'll get when you're trying to connect any of your casting devices. So there's CarPlay. I won't switch to that at the moment. So CarPlay, Android Auto, AirPlay, Android Cast, and Wi-Fi Video. So all it does is ask you to connect via Bluetooth, and once you do that, it will auto-populate. Again, let's move over to AirPlay. There you go. So now it's just asking, open your iPhone's Wi-Fi connection and connect to this via Wi-Fi. So it's another method of connecting and casting your actual screen rather than using Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. So AirPlay is iPhone's version of the Cast software, and then Android Cast is the Android version. So if I switch to Wi-Fi video, there you go. So this asks you to download an app, and then downloading that app, it will then connect to your head unit itself, and again, you'll have video streaming. So we've already looked at our audio outputs. Last thing is just our playback, so that automatically stops our recording, and we can then look at our videos that we have recorded, and we can scroll through them and play them back at our leisure. Back to our home screen. Okay, so if we go into settings here, we can have a look. So we get prompted that when you open the settings, it will stop the recording because you can adjust the camera settings in here. But if we start with the general settings, so we can set our screensaver, and that's just how long it takes before the screensaver turns on. I have mine set to off because I don't need the screensaver to be on. Your driver position, so that's if you're left-hand drive or right-hand drive. Our split screen mode, so I have it set to split screen, but we can go to full screen. So all that allows you to do is have multiple windows open on the screen. So when you're in full screen mode, anything you open will open the entire display. If you're in split screen, it will allow you to have two apps open at once, so you could have your Apple CarPlay on one side and your DashCam on the other, for example. Our brightness adjustment, which we've already looked at. Assistive touch, that's just the little white box that we saw when we looked at Apple CarPlay. That just lets you get back to the home screen, so I'll leave that on here. If we go into camera settings, we can change our resolution here. So I currently have the device set to 4K on the front camera and 1080p on the reversing camera, or the rear dash camera. You can drop that down to 2K on the front camera, but I'll leave mine in 4K as it comes fitted, as I've said before, with a 64 gig SD card from the factory, so there's no reason to change that from 4K. Our split time, so this is the time in looping and recording. So currently I have it set to 1 minute, so every 1 minute there'll be another video clip on the dash cam. Most people would set that to 3 minutes, so I will do the same. Got our sensitivity for collision, so in the event of a collision, it will detect, the G sensor will detect that collision, and you can just set the sensitivity of that and it will lock the recording when it senses that. You can enable and disable the microphone here, so I have mine set to off as I don't need it to record the audio that's happening inside the cab here, but you could, if you wish, turn that on. That's if you want to mirror the rear camera. So depending on how you have your camera fitted, you might want to reverse the image, depending on which way up you have it. In my case, I've got it switched off. And lastly, so that's our dash cam again, our rear dash cam, sorry. You can adjust where the parking lines are to more suit your vehicle. So I will set mine to drastically different options like that. So now obviously when we go into reverse, you would see your parking lines and they would be roughly where you set them and where you think they should be. So that's the last thing in the camera settings. So we can finally go into system settings where we can set our language. I will keep mine in English, but there are a lot of languages on here. Our sound, so I have that switched off. If we turn that on, it will just make a noise every time we touch the screen. So I have that set off. I'll just show you again. So there you go. So every time we touch the screen, it makes a noise. I'll set that to off. We can set our date and time. I won't change that currently, but yep, that's how you set the date and time. Storage information. So that's just going to tell us that we have a 64 gig SD card. Obviously, it's formatted here. So we don't have 64 gig of usable storage, but we've got 58.23 gigabytes of usable storage. We can reformat that SD card if we absolutely need to. We can perform a factory reset on the head unit itself, or we can get firmware information. So if we jump back into Apple CarPlay, just one more time, we can see, obviously this is one of the main features I like about it, is it allows you to use your phone really while you're driving and have the sat-nav in something that you otherwise wouldn't have. So in my camper I can't have a big radio in here, but this head unit is absolutely perfect. This is the extra menu that we can adjust in the settings. So if I go back home into settings, I go system settings, my apologies, it's in general, assistive touch, if we turn that off, when we go into CarPlay we won't have that option anymore, so that's worth noting. If you want to get rid of that, it's in the settings, and then obviously you can just go back home using the CarPlay home option. Yeah, so I'll leave a link to this in the description. I would strongly advise you join the Eonon Facebook group. I'm very active on there, so if you want some assistance, if you've got any questions, feel free to just leave a comment here and I'll try to get back to you, or if not, post them in the Eonon Facebook group and I will do my best to get back to you. Thank you.